The following is a production of Stevenson Media. H-Town, what it do? I am Nick Stevenson, the self-appointed president of Houston Sports Nation. The man to my right needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyway. Mr. 713, Ruben Calvillo. What's going on, fella? It's been a minute. How you feeling?
Feeling great. 2024 season came to an end.
Yes, sir.
I'm ready to look for 2025, and I'm ready to get delusional and think of how this team can find its way into the Super Bowl a year from now.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before we get there, man, can we give a round of applause to the Philadelphia Eagles for taking belt to ass to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, bro, but I wasn't expecting that. But it was good to see. I was happy to see it. It felt like when your middle school bully finally goes to high school and then you see him get his ass kicked and you're like, okay, now I feel better. Now you know how it feels. It was unexpected, but it was a good sight to see. And here's the thing. Getting it back to the Texans, I feel like the Eagles set the blueprint for how to do what the Texans want to do. And I say that, and what I mean by that is last year, the Eagles took a step back after having a really successful season, going to the Super Bowl. And one of the problems was that one of the sides of the ball that they thought was going to be really good wasn't. And for the Eagles, it was their defense. They thought their defense was going to be really good last season. They struggled on defense. So what did they do? They addressed it immediately in the offseason with the draft and with free agency. They bolstered that defense. And then all of a sudden, they became the team that they knew that they should have been the 2 years prior, and they put themselves in prime position to reach that ultimate goal of hoisting up the Lombardi trophy, bro. And that's where the Texans want to be. The Texans want to be Houston Texans fans. We want to be Philadelphia fans, although we're not going to set our city on fire if we ever win a Super Bowl. But we're gonna every team in the NFL and every fan base wants to be Philadelphia right now. So the question is, Ruben, how are we going to get there? What's going to happen? The last time we did the show, we talked about how Bobby Slowick had gotten let go, and you and I were both maybe a little bit surprised but happy about that. Well, since then, Nick Caley has been hired as the offensive coordinator. I want to know how you feel about it, and then I'll give you my thoughts on their offseason so far, and then we can talk about what we think they need to do moving forward. But how do you feel about the Nick Caley hire?
You know, I was nervous during the interview process because we weren't getting any types of rumors about where the Houston Texans were leaning. You know, the only thing we heard was from Jonathan Jones and said that they had interest in Chip Kelly.
Right.
Well, you know, we know where he went to, Las Vegas, and oh my God, he's making more than D'Amico Ryan Jr. I mean, who wouldn't, take that paycheck?
Of course.
Nick Caley, it felt like it was going to be the hire, the connection to general manager Nick Caserio was there. They went to the same college, John Carroll. Nick Caley spent a lot of time with the New England Patriots. That was where general manager Nick Caserio was. The other coach that they just brought in, Jerry Shuplinski, the Los Angeles Rams senior offensive assistant, he went to John Carroll University. So it's like if you go to John Carroll, then you got a good chance of being hired on this Houston Texans football team. You know who else went to John Carroll, Nick? Josh McCown.
I didn't realize that.
And Frank Ross.
We
gotta start looking at John Carroll, people, man. Like if you see John Carroll, if they went there, then hey, they might be working for the Houston Texans, somewhere near the future.
Speaking of Frank Ross, man, I'm surprised other people aren't wanting to hire him. Like
He's not ready yet.
He's just an infectious type of coach, man. You can tell the people on special teams love playing for him. And I think it's going to be a matter of time before he gets that call. Maybe he gets promoted within, or maybe he gets an opportunity to maybe do a defensive coordinator position or something for another team. But no, I agree with you. I was a little bit nervous too. for me at the time, it was like Chip Kelly or bust, right? Chip Kelly or bust. But
Mhm.
once it became clear that that wasn't going to be it, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I was not initially, and maybe I'm still not very thrilled about
Yeah.
the Nick Caley hire. And
And I
here's,
don't think I'm thrilled either.
and here's why.
Like,
Well,
and
maybe it's the
yeah.
same reason for you. Go ahead.
Well, like we said, before, uh, seeing Nick Caley hire, it won't be the sexy hire. The sexy hire is Chip Kelly.
Right.
That's where the headlines were. But you not wanting to play into the headlines, you actually taking your time to do this interview search. And remember, Nick Caley interviewed for the Houston Texans 2 years ago,
He did.
to be the offensive coordinator, lost it to Bobby Slowick. So you're like, all right, there's history there. Of course, we
Mhm.
talked about his history with general manager Nick Caserio. This hire would make sense. It won't be the sexy one, but it's one where it makes sense and
Yeah.
not one where I think a lot of people will be disappointed in. If we would have hired Gerard Johnson and promoted him, a lot of people would have been disappointed. A lot of people would have been happy as well. And I think with Nick Caley, there are a lot of people, happy, but not overly happy to where, like we're saying, oh, this is the next, great play caller in this league. Um, we're
And
just
that's the
saying,
problem.
okay,
Yeah.
let's see what Nick Caley has. What you love is his 2 years with the Los Angeles Rams as a tight end coach in the 2024 offseason. So just before this season, he was given the opportunity to be the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, to be connected to Gerard Mayo. He said no. He declined that job. He declined a job of a lifetime. He declined millions in the bank account and
Mhm.
said, let me go back, let me be under Sean McVay, and let me learn his system. And then you see him get promoted to pass game coordinator, right? Thank you for coming back, Nick Caley.
Yeah.
Then so he becomes the OC, and then I see I'm real big on Barstool, man. So I was watching Coach Gruden on one of his podcasts the other day, and he said, what you love about offensive coordinators is the ones who were tight end coaches, because they had to learn the pass blocking scheme, the run blocking scheme. They had to know everything
Mhm.
about the offense. And he said that's what he likes about offensive coordinators, is seeing that they were former tight end coaches. Nick Caley's been a tight end coach, everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
last year was given the promotion of pass game coordinator. I know Sean McVay still called plays for the Los Angeles Rams. So
Yeah.
Nick Caley, first time play caller, year 3 of CJ Stroud. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. But my excitement is more like show me what you
Like
got.
opening a new toy on
Yeah,
Christmas. You
yeah,
want to see
it's
what
like,
you got.
show me what you got. It's not like if we would have hired Chip Kelly, right? Then our
Right.
conversations would have been like, I want to see a top 5 Houston Texan
Yeah.
offense next year. With Nick Caley, it's like, all right, let's see what you can do. And see what type of offense you bring to the Houston Texans. And like we talked about how important this hire is. You're in year 3 of CJ Stroud. This is the developmental years.
Hmm.
You got to get this hire right. And you hope that the front office and GM Nick Caserio did their due diligence, and they did. I'm sorry, well, with Nick Caley.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. For me, it's not the fact that it wasn't sexy. That doesn't matter to me.
Mhm.
I'm concerned that the Houston Texans might be spinning their wheels a little bit
How so?
because you're hiring yet another offensive passing coordinator who's never
Okay.
been an OC, who's
Mhm.
never called plays in the NFL. You're
Mhm.
basically hiring Bobby Slowick over again, except now Bobby Slowick has 2 more years of experience than Nick Caley has at being a play caller. Now, it's entirely possible that Nick Caley is just a better coach
Mhm.
than Bobby Slowick is. And for the Houston Texans fans' sake, we certainly hope so.
Mhm.
Um, or maybe, I mean, Bobby Slowick, you mentioned it last week. Bobby Slowick was pretty good in his first year. So, maybe you have an opportunity for some fresh new play calls, a fresh
Mhm.
new look at the offense in the first year. And then we hope in his second year, he doesn't regress the way that Bobby Slowick did. That's my only concern. And that's why when we did our last ESPN episode and we were talking about the prospect of the Texans hiring Chip Kelly, it's because I said Chip Kelly is going to come into that room and he will have pelts on the wall. He is instantly going to command the respect of everybody in that locker room on the
Fair.
offensive side of the ball because he's been there, done that. And I mean, we can't change the fact that we didn't get him. He went elsewhere. He has the right to do that. My only concern with hiring once again another person who's never called plays in the NFL before is, I guess, the negative side of what you're saying. It's the unknown. Show me what you got. We hope it's good. We hope it's not bad. I would just you brought up this being Stroud's third year and the importance of getting this hire right. You're absolutely right. I talked about on my show, and we talked about it on Twin Toros as well. D'Amico Ryans being, his former head coach being Gary Kubiak. It took Gary Kubiak several years to get his coaching staff right. And to D'Amico's credit, he started winning a lot faster as the head coach of the Houston Texans than Gary Kubiak did. Gary Kubiak got hired 2006. He didn't make the playoffs till 2011. The advantage that D'Amico has is he got his franchise quarterback right away. He got his franchise pass rusher right away. So I would say D'Amico is ahead of schedule, but I hope he will learn, like, you've got to have the right coaching staff around you. So that being said, what are you wanting to see from this offense, not only as far as play calling, productivity, but personnel-wise? What do you want this Houston Texans team to look like come training camp?
First I'll give you, where I want to see the offense. I mean, they were a bottom offense in this league. Let's just get that out the way. So you're at the bottom, climbing up. Any type of climb up is an improvement.
Of course.
If you go from, like, what were we, 25th, 27th in offense?
Yeah, I think
Like, we were in the 20s. We're in the bottom part. If you go to a top 15 offense, if you're at number 15, middle of the pack, and you have this D'Amico Ryans defense, you feel like you can beat anybody in front of you.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of defense that you have. So you're hoping that with any type of improvement from this Houston Texan offense, your season, might be better, might be longer. So I want them to jump from bottom of the league to, let's say, top 15. If this was Chip Kelly, dude, I'm saying I am expecting one of the best, exciting offenses in the NFL because of him being a first-time play caller. And I'm talking about Nick Caley here. He'll have he'll have a longer leash, right? He'll have time to grow. If it would have been a Chip Kelly, we would have been demanding the offense to be perfect week one. Hell, preseason, preseason week one. I want to start with the offensive line. I want to see Laremy Tunsil at left tackle. I don't care how many false starts he gives me. I'll say this time and time again. Elite pass protector. And I will fight anyone on that word elite. Left guard, if he decides to take a pay cut, Titus Howard. If not, try to find a way to get him off this Houston Texans team. He is a good, not great offensive lineman. Center, Juice Scruggs. Now, this doesn't excite me, but you're hoping with new offensive line coach Cole Popovich, maybe this offense, maybe he gets better with just coaching. Still very young. You don't want to give up on a second-round pick. Your right guard is either going to be a rookie or someone in free agency. Now, a lot of Texans fans have already been drafting Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama, to the Houston Texans at pick 25. A lot of fans had said, throw the bag at Trey Smith. I believe is the right guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. Very good, very young. That would immediately give you a strong right side. And then rookie Blake Fisher, not a rookie no more, entering year 2, but your week 1 starter at right tackle. I think that is the offensive line for next season. If you go 2 new guards and still Titus Howard is gone, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Right. You might have to address the O-line in free agency. You might have to address the draft. Running backs, I need a backup. I need a fast guy. Dameon Pierce, Joe Mixon, they're not fast. They're not shifty. And when I'm talking about the running back, I'm talking about guys like Devon A-Chain, guys like Raheem Mostert, even though he's 50 years old. He's as shifty as they come.
Yeah.
I think we need a good third down back. I love Darway, but the passing game, I think,
You're
could
looking
be
for somebody like a Shady McCoy or in their prime. You know what I mean?
Duke Johnson. You give me a Duke Johnson,
Okay.
like a good solid 2 or 3 running back, I'm there. Right. With Damien, you didn't really have that. Oh, this guy could hurt me, with the pass also. Right. You knew that when Dare was in the game, you knew we were going to pass the ball. When
Right.
Joe Mixon was in the game, you knew we were going to run the ball. Right? We need a running back who's able to be a threat and be on the field at all times.
I thought Slowick could have utilized Mixon in the pass
And
game a little
Slowick
more
did
than
it.
he did.
He
Yeah,
did
I
not.
felt
He
like he could have done it more
mentioned
though.
that towards the end of the year, saying, kind of forgot to use Joe Mixon that way. I mean, how do you forget that he has 2 seasons with 50 plus catches?
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
we're talking about an entirely different offense, an entirely different season for Joe Mixon if he's using the passing game.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, I don't care how you do it. You need bodies. I'm tired of seeing Nico Collins, and that's it at the end of the season. So either you got to draft one, draft multiple, double dip in the draft. If you got to pick a couple in free agency, do I want Stephon Diggs back? I don't know. The money has to make sense. The last time I saw Stephon Diggs, he was in the club with Cardi B. Insane. But Stephon Diggs is the dog. People talk about Cooper Kupp. I don't know. He's owed $20 million this year, $19.8 million next year, 31 years old. Do I want to pay someone that much money over the next 2 years?
You already got a $20+ million wide receiver on the roster, and that's the
Right.
problem.
Maybe if the Rams eat up a large part of that contract, then maybe we could start a dialogue. That's it.
Yeah.
But you need to invest into this wide receiver room. I know a lot of people are talking about Garrett Wilson. I just don't see that happening. I would love a Garrett Wilson on the Houston Texans,
Of
but
course.
you're gonna have to pay him in a couple of years. I mean,
Yeah,
literally, you traded for him, you're gonna have to pay him.
Yeah.
Right? Then that's all right. I gotta pay Stingley. I gotta pay Will. I gotta pay CJ. I gotta decide whether or not to extend Laramie Tunsil. So a lot of big decisions financially are coming for Houston.
Yes, and I think right now the Texans only have $3.9 million in cap space, so there's gonna have to be some restructuring.
And they
contract.
will.
And you brought up the number one contract I want restructured, and that's Titus Howard.
And Shaq Mason, if you cut him at the start of the new league year, then you save like $4 or $5 million. It could be more.
Yeah, he's got to be gone. Like you said, Titus, if he takes a pay cut, he can stay. I think Kenyon Green still has one more year where his penalties.
He's done. He might.
Yeah, but he has one more year where his penalty's really big, so it's too big of a cap hit to cut him loose. But he can be a backup for all I care. You brought up Trey Smith, man. I just don't know that they're going to be able to afford him.
Cap space is a myth, man.
Yeah, I mean that would obviously be the unicorn, right? I thought about
if that's your one big signing, if that's your only one, okay.
Or maybe you can move Fisher in and pick up a tackle in free agency. Somebody like Tyron Smith, Walker Little from the Jags. Both of those guys are on teams that suck. They probably want to come to a winning organization, and it's got to be the right fit as far as scheme wise, of course. But you hit the nail on the head. It's got to be offensive line first, and I think wide receiver is honestly the second.
Because like the defense is fine. Don't even touch the defense.
Yeah, out of safety, obviously we got to replace Jimmy Ward.
Can we bring in Justin Simmons? Like, can we just undo the mistake that we did this year, and that was not signing him?
Isn't he like 33 now?
Imagine this team with Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
Imagine what we could have been with Justin Simmons.
For sure.
Oh my God. A secondary of Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, Kalen Bullock, Justin Simmons will be the best in the NFL.
For sure.
Best in the NFL.
But he's a year older now too, so maybe.
How many interceptions did he have this year? How old is Jimmy Ward?
Jimmy Ward's old too.
Come on,
problem, man. I'm
Jimmy
ready for
Ward don't play.
I don't want another Ed Reed situation, bro, where we bring in a 50-year-old safety.
Dude, he's 31, bro, coming off of 2 interceptions, and he plays 16 games this year.
All right, sign him to a 1-year deal like you did Tyron. I take that. Like you did Tyron Matthew. I think that'd be I think that's the priority list though. It's got to be offensive line, like you said, draft or free agency or a combination of both. And then wide receiver. Stephon, now I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if this is going to happen. T. Higgins tweeting at the Texans with the eye emojis saying what's up. And
He's
Joe
doing it.
Mixon, I know he came out. This was a few weeks ago. This was right around the time I was on vacation. T. Higgins said Houston.
Nah,
I
it's
don't know
not
if
gonna
maybe it
happen.
was a bot account. No, I don't
Yeah,
think it's gonna
no.
happen either. But the only thing that made me kind of perk my ears up, because you remember that Joe Mixon, who's a former teammate of his, said to the media, like, "Hey, I know that Nick's got something up the sleeve." So I don't know, man. We'll see
Maybe
what
that was
happens.
Bobby
But
being fired.
maybe, maybe, maybe. But yeah, I think that's the order I want to see them address it in. I have some concerns about Nick Caley, but obviously we have no choice now but to wait and see. So I'm not gonna obviously not gonna jump off the bandwagon or anything. I just would have liked to have seen somebody with the experience. Whenever you're a new head coach, which I mean, D'Amico's not a new head coach anymore, but in his first 2 seasons, he didn't really surround himself with a whole lot of experience. And think about
Yeah,
this, man. And he still won 10 games 2 years in a
insane.
row. It's insane. I mean, if you think about it, like how much better could it have been if he'd had maybe a former head coach on his staff, or he'd had somebody who had already called plays before
Cliff
on the offensive
Kingsbury.
side of the ball. Yeah, something, man. So we'll see, man. Those are definitely the things I'm going to be looking at in this offseason. I haven't really started breaking down the draft a whole lot. Who'd you say the guard from Alabama was?
Tyler Booker is a dog.
Tyler Booker. All right, I have to start watching some film on him.
Yeah, now that
Um,
the season's over,
and
I'm
you know
about
me,
to
Danico loves picking Alabama guys, man. So you've already got the connection there. We'll see. We'll see. I think that would be a really, really exciting. I think that's a pick people would get excited about, because we all know the number one thing that messed this team up this year was the trash offensive line. So Slowick's gone. Strauzer's gone. Who's the new O-line coach?
Cole Popovich getting the promotion. And my
Oh,
first question was, what was your involvement into last year's offensive line? Because you deserve a lot of blame as well.
yeah. This is what's weird. I feel like the Texans ran a power running scheme, and that's not the Shanahan. Like usually they run a lot of zone runs,
So, yeah.
and you have smaller offensive linemen who are super agile and can move quickly.
They couldn't run zone, dude.
Yeah, because I mean,
They were
and I
pulling
know they
fucking
can't.
Shaq Mason.
So this is why I'm just maybe D'Amico is just doing what he's got to design his offense around the players that he has. I'm curious what type of offensive linemen they're going to start drafting in the future, though. Are they going to start
Facts.
drafting some more nimble, some more quick offensive linemen so they can switch to that zone running scheme? Because that's what we saw Gary Kubiak run for all the years and have success with Arian Foster and all the other running backs who had success in that offense. It's what we've seen the Shanahan system produce X amount of 100-yard rushers, or 1,000-yard rushers every season. It's supposed to be the one thing that is plug and play in this offense, and we haven't seen that yet since D'Amico's been the head coach. So I'm looking forward to that, but we'll see. If this power running scheme, if we can get CJ going back to looking like his rookie year and maybe even a little bit better, then the sky's the limit, man. Like I said, everybody wants to be the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think the Philadelphia Eagles, the reason I said they laid a good foot or blueprint is because they immediately addressed the things that they needed fixed in their offseason, and they came back stronger than ever, and they made it to the ultimate goal, man. And like I said, as a fan, that's all we want to see is recognize your weaknesses and fix them, man. All right, man. Real quick, what you think about Kendrick in the halftime show?
Trash.
You thought it was trash?
Trash.
It was not exciting.
It was so trash that all the Kendrick haters started to do what they always do and go in depth and analyze a halftime performance, what they were wearing, what pose they were doing. I'm sick of Kendrick fans. I'm just sick of it. Don't tell me that I need to sit down and listen to a Kendrick song and stop what I'm doing to pay attention when you didn't even graduate high school. Just stop talking to me. I hate people like that. Oh,
We
you
didn't
really have to focus. Like, dude, you could barely read. Like what?
That's
Why
not
are we
why.
arguing
That's
right
not
now?
why I turned on the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't want to have to learn anything during the Super Bowl halftime show. I want to be entertained. I feel you.
You
I get
weren't
it.
entertained.
Yeah, and I mean,
It was all about Drake. How do you have two of Drake's exes, SZA and Serena? Like, come
Yeah,
on, come on.
it was.
How do you call someone a PDF? No. We're not gonna get into
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
OVO. That's all I'm saying. OVO.
yeah, yeah. Oh, so you're on Team Drake, is from what I gather from
What?
you.
Yes.
All right.
OVO.
Ted Ford. Well, man, it's good to get back with you, man, and doing this show again. I want to remind everybody who's watching, number one, let us thank you for continuing to support the Twin Toros. Want to remind you guys where you can find our stuff. Follow Ruben Calvillo at 713 Houston Sportscast. Just type in 713 Houston Sports on YouTube. He is also on X. He's on IG. He's on TikTok. I will make sure that his link is in the description. You guys can find all of his stuff. And you can find me on Houston Sports State of the Union podcast. I do a weekly live show where I give you the State of the Union for all Houston sports, Texans, Astros, Rockets, even throw a little bit of Dynamo in there every now and again. So you guys, I'll leave my links in the description as well so that you guys can find us there. Like I said, my man Ruben, he's doing daily Houston Texans content. It's H-Town till we drown. So we're going to keep you guys, we're going to keep this thing going in the off season. Like I said, I'm going to do some more in-depth analysis of what I think they might be able to do in the draft. We'll start breaking down some free agency. There's always going to be something to talk about in the NFL. And hell, man, we can always throw in a little bit of pop culture, a little bit of entertainment, whatever we got to do to keep you guys entertained during this off season. Ruben, you got anything to add before we get up out of here?
Hopefully, this time next year, we're talking about a Super Bowl Monday.
You know what I'm talking about, bro?
Brother.
Imagine a parade right now, bro.
I'm telling you, the day we win a Super Bowl, I'm in downtown. I'm breaking every law imaginable. I'm doing something. I'm having a kid that night. That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And you got to name him CJ.
Nah.
Unless it's a girl. Well, you can name a girl CJ.
CJ.
Nah, just go CJ. CJ's good. No, man, I'm telling you, that's what every fan base in the NFL is wishing they could feel with the Philadelphia.
Just once, man. Just I
the Philly
need
fans
it.
don't even deserve it. Can we just say that? I'm sorry, but Philly fans are terrible people. They are terrible people, bro. They burn down their city whether they win or lose.
Just because they're terrible doesn't mean they don't deserve a dub. And
and they've got one. This is their second?
Second in 5 years or second in 7. But that's where you give credit to Howie Roseman. I know a lot of Eagles fans hate Howie Roseman. They call him the Twitter GM, the Madden GM. It's working.
Yeah.
You see the draft he had Quinion Mitchell at corner, Cooper DeJean at safety. Like, dear God, he hit on picks 1 and 2.
Yeah,
right? I
sure.
mean, hey, Texas hit on 1 and 2. Kamari Lassiter and Kalen.
Yeah. Let's give some love to Channel View's finest too, to
Jalen Hurts, my guy, putting on for the city. Putting on.
You know his pop still coaches in high school football at Channel View, which is crazy.
Man, Jalen's gonna pull up.
Oh, he's got to. He's got to.
Bro, you saw
his pop still coaches there, man, and it's not.
He was dancing.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of H-Town flavor for you there too, man. We got Channel View's finest.
Connor Barwin, shout out to him, former Texan on the Eagles staff.
Is Channel View's team called the Eagles?
No, that's Pearland.
Oh, I thought Channel View was the Eagles. What's Channel View? I can't remember it. I think they're the Eagles too.
Oh,
there's some kind of bird. Anyway, yeah, man. But shout out to Jalen Hurts. Shout out to his fam. I hope he does pull up and show some love for the city, man. That's just we want to see our guys hoisting up that trophy. I want to see.
Happiest day of my life.
Oh, man, I'm telling you. I want to see CJ propose to his girlfriend, a la Carlos Correa after the World Series. Something, bro. Like, it was tough. I almost protested watching the Super Bowl. I almost didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to see the Chiefs win another one, bro. And I broke down and I said, you know what? It's Super Bowl Sunday. I don't got nothing else going on. I covered the Rockets that afternoon. They finally broke their losing streak, thank God. So I was feeling good at that time anyway. So I was like, let me go ahead and check out the Super Bowl. And you know what? Sure enough, as bad as the halftime show was, it was actually more entertaining than the game. There's more people talking about the halftime show right now than are talking about the game itself because the game was over in the first quarter, bro. Like it was crazy. And when they were up 24-0, I couldn't help but think about our Texans.
Dude, I'm picturing it now. Downtown Houston.
Oh,
And you know what moment is gonna be the moment that everyone talks about? When whoever has the ox, they're gonna push play, and you're gonna hear "Wanna Be a Baller" by Lil Troy, and the entire city will
yeah,
sing in in unison. I
absolutely.
wanna be a baller, shot calling, 20-inch blades on the. Ooh, I'm hype.
2025. What do you think? Are the odds out yet, Mr. Bet US? Super Bowl odds
I
for
don't
next
know.
year?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
All right. Well, we'll figure that out for our. We got a
Guys get
long
better,
off
man. They
season.
got, switch from roller to a prime code. Let's
Hey.
win.
All right. So listen, we got a long off season ahead of us. So we'll break down all of that stuff, see what the Texans' odds are of winning the Super Bowl next year, and we'll talk some free agency, some off season, and then we'll talk some draft as well. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much. Once again, please don't forget to go follow us on our channels and all of our socials. Once again, those links are in the description. We're going to see you guys next week. In the meantime, you guys stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you. Good night.